Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Se Vuelve Podcast. My name is Monica, and I want to thank you for being here. So today I'm going to be sitting with my former classmate, Aaliyah. I mentioned in a previous episode, Aaliyah is from England, and she came to Chicago to study abroad. So please help me welcome Aaliyah. Hi, Aaliyah. Welcome to Se Vuelve Podcast. How are you doing?
Hi, thanks for having me, Monica. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
I'm so happy that
Good
you're
to hear.
here. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
So the last time I saw Aaliyah was in 2022. I think it was like March of 2022.
Was it? Yeah, maybe it was. I thought it was the year before, but you might be right. 2022.
I think
Was
it
that
was
when we had our
2022.
little pizza date? Was it that time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember. I'm gonna look it up because I need to know. I'm such a I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure
It
it's
was.
2022 because I was doing a lot of traveling in the year prep. No, it wasn't. Why am I saying that? Yes, it was March of 2022.
Wow. Okay.
The
Okay.
first time I got COVID.
Oh, don't. I
From
can't
I
believe we
did.
met during COVID. I thought it was the year before. Not met, but when we met up again, I thought it was. I don't know why I thought it was the year before COVID, but it makes sense. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was out there for concert live. That was fun.
Yes, you were. I remember. Oh,
But it's like I said, it's so good to see her. I was getting nervous about it, and then I'm like, but I'm excited. I'm so excited to see Aaliyah because I hadn't seen her in 2 years. So I'm happy to have you here.
well, thanks for having me.
No problem. I wanted to talk to you because the reason how we met was because you were studying abroad in Chicago.
Hmm.
But let's start off with kind of what or how it was growing up in England. And yeah, we'll start with there.
And just growing up in England, um, I don't know. I always felt like it was a little boring for me, and I just wanted to explore somewhere else. I think when I first went on holiday or vacation, as you guys would say,
Yeah.
the first place I ever went to was Canada. And when I went there, I was kind of like, I wanna travel more. Like I knew at a young age, I was like 12, 13, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I wanna go to more places. I wanna see what else there is for me. And I always loved the US, and a lot of like media that I consume is from the US, a lot of films, a lot of television. So it just felt natural for me to want to go there, like at university. So it was like a no-brainer when that opportunity came. And I was like, yeah, it has to be the US. There's just I knew I wanted to go there. So it was a dream for a long time to go.
So let me ask you about what kind of shows were you watching? Like as a kid, what I guess I'm just interested to know because I saying for you in England, right? You
Hmm.
guys were kind of watching American TV, right? But obviously, like on our side, we weren't watching like British TV. Like
Yes.
the very first experience that I watched was Harry Potter. Like, you know what I mean? So,
I love that. I love that.
so
I
just
think that's most people from the US would say that as well. Probably Harry Potter was like the first, maybe.
mm-hmm. So what kind of shows were you watching that maybe like caught your interest in wanting to maybe explore the US?
Um, when I was a kid, like I used to watch a lot of like cartoons or like I'd watch a lot of Nickelodeon. I'd watch a lot of Cartoon Network, and especially then at the time, like a lot of the
Yeah,
media it just was like American media. Now it's a little bit different. Like now the UK
yeah,
has more like you know, British produced kid shows and stuff. There's a lot
yeah,
more of it now, but certainly when I was growing up, like it was all pretty much all most of it was American. I'd watched
yeah.
like a little bit of like British productions and British
Mhm.
kid shows and stuff, but it was like predominantly all the shows on Nickelodeon, like all the things that you guys probably would have watched as well, like Drake and Josh, Keenan and Kel, Sister Sister, all those classics is what I grew up watching And then like it would be like cartoons and stuff, Disney Channel, all that kind of stuff. So growing up with that, and I loved it. I loved it because, you know, back then TV was what we consumed, wasn't really social media or the internet or anything. So
Right.
that was like my first introduction to the US essentially. So I enjoyed it, and I always knew that, oh, I want to go there one day. So
It's
yeah.
just, and it's interesting that our, I don't know, like our nostalgia comes from that, like that era, right? Well, it's a commonality between, I guess, like kids back then, like kids in the UK and then in the US, right? Like we were watching kind of like the same media. It's
Yeah.
interesting to see how different now it would be. I have a 8-year-old niece, and she's on YouTube. She doesn't watch any like TV anymore. So they're on their phone. She's on her phone all the time.
It's
But
crazy. It's so different now. Like, yeah, the media that kids consume now, it is like YouTube or like TikTok and stuff like that.
yeah,
Not really TV. And I'm like, damn, like it's so different for
it's
us.
it's the attention span. It's like they want quick, um, like a quick video, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that your interest in like kind of like the U.S. TV shows kind of inspired you to study abroad in
Hmm.
in the US. Talk to me really quick about what was the process like. What were the steps that you had to go through, and then before we get to like actually being in the US.
So I remember going to like a meeting about it first and foremost. So once I knew that my university offered that opportunity, I had to go to a meeting to get all the information about it. Then you essentially had to so in that meeting they kind of spoke about all the places that they offered that you could go to.
Mm-hmm.
So I already knew it was going to be the US. I knew that much, but I didn't know
Yeah.
where in the US because they had a few options, and Colombia was one of them. So I got all that information from that meeting, and then after, I was like, okay, I know I definitely want to do this. So I kind of like had to apply for it, send some emails. Then I had like an interview for it, and then they asked me, okay, where do you want to go? Why do you want to do this kind of thing? So I had an interview about it, and then they told me there's only a certain amount of students they send out a year to do it as well. So it's not like everybody can get to do it. You know, they have a set limit. Um, but I think I was in good standing for that because I think nobody else from my course was applying for it at the same time I was. So
Okay.
that gave me a good chance. Um, so yes, I had an interview. Um, And then they said, okay. They also checked my grades as well. You had to have a certain pass mark to be even considered. Otherwise, it was like, no, you can't do it.
Gotcha.
So my grades was a factor of it as well. And then they said, okay, um, you've been selected. We'd like you to do it. Um, and then they kind of submit an application on your behalf to Colombia. I chose Colombia. I had a few options. I think Tennessee was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
My face.
Um, and I had a look at the university there, and I looked at Columbia, and Columbia was just so much more me. It was just like big city. I loved the location. I looked at the courses and the classes they had. It
Yeah.
was just so much more me. I could see myself there. So I was like, it has to be Chicago. It has to be. Um, so I knew that's where I wanted to go. And yeah, like my school basically sent an application on my behalf to Colombia. Then Colombia got back to me, and then they kind of gave me their own list of things that I needed to prepare for them. So and have
Okay.
evidence of. So that was like, you know, visa, a certain amount of money they needed me to have to show that I'd be able to support myself over
Wow.
there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of stuff. And then what else did they want? They wanted proof of like travel insurance, things like that. Then
Mm-hmm.
they wanted like my grade transcripts. My my university kind of sorted that part, but I had all this other stuff. And then on top of that, you have like the usual stuff that you need when you apply to college anyway. Like you need to apply for your housing if you're going to be staying on campus and all of that. So it was like a lot. And you had like a certain time frame to do it by as well, because you need
Yeah.
to be, all that needs to be sorted so that you're ready to start classes when they start in the new semester. So it was very stressful, but it was
Wow.
it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. So yeah, I had to jump through quite a few hoops, which was really hard at the time. But I did it. I managed it somehow.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was
The
a
reason
lot.
why I say
It
that
was a
is 'cause I'm trying to think about like my experience, and I don't think I did all that.
What?
But yeah, I'll definitely be filming an episode on my travel abroad journey, or my to study abroad. I should say study abroad journey as well. Um, but yeah, we didn't. I didn't go through all that.
That's crazy. Because
Yeah.
I do think you kind of said like your process just seemed a lot smoother than mine, but
Yes.
mine was like it was a lot. I didn't even know
That's
if I was gonna make it over there in time. Up
yeah.
to like a week before, I didn't know if I was definitely going or not. I'd done everything I could do on my end. Yeah, it was very stressful. I was almost like crying, thinking like
Oh my god.
this isn't gonna happen. I've done everything I can do, because there were some delays as well that were out of my control. Like I think like the coordinator over here, the person who was supposed to be in charge of like overseeing it for me and over here, she was on leave or something like that. I don't know if she was on maternity leave or so then there was like a delay there. And then somebody else was supposed to pick that up while she was gone, and then they didn't for like weeks. And then I was like panicking. Like the person I was liaising with from Chicago was fine. They were in regular contact with me, but there were delays over here.
Yeah.
So that kind of stumped me a little bit. And then it was like the whole visa thing. I had to go down to London because it wasn't like, it's different over here when you do like a normal travel visa or like a tourist visa. You just do it online and it's a yes or no. But this visa to study, especially for the length of time I was going for, it was different. I had to go to London, and then I had to have like an interview at the visa office, and that was scary because they can just say no and then that's it. So I didn't know what to expect, so I had to do all that, and then I had to get like the money together to make sure I had enough. It was a whole stressful process. I didn't know if it was going to happen, and then I think that sorting the housing out was hard as well.
Yeah.
Because it was like the availability and it was it was a lot. I did it though. I did it. It worked out. It worked out. And when I got there, I didn't think about any of that stuff. But I'm telling you, I didn't know if it was actually going to happen at one point.
All right. So when did you purchase a flight? Because
that's the thing. I couldn't even book the flight until, so first I had to get like all the money together. Because it's like you apply for it, and then Columbia emailed me, and they kind of told me how much, they gave me like a ballpark figure of how much I need to have to even be there, because they're just like, we need to make sure you can support yourself, you know. And I think it was like, I don't remember the figure off the top of my head, but it was, let's just say for argument's sake, it was like $5,000, right? That's separate from like your tuition fees or whatever. They just want to make sure you have like $5,000 in the bank to support yourself. It could have been more than that, to be honest, but that's just what I'm going to say. So I had to make sure that I had that money together. And, you know, my parents, though, like my family are not, they don't have money just like lying around like that. So there's things I did that helped with my experience. Like I applied for, my university were really good for this. They had like some grants that they were offering, so money that you can apply for, you don't have to pay it back. and my university were offering an opportunity like that. And I remember going for an interview for it, and I said, listen, like this would really help me out for my study abroad experience. And then the guy that I spoke to was literally like, you should definitely apply for it. You're the kind of person that we'd want to help. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay. I just says, what have I got to lose? And I did it. I applied for it. I had to write up an application, and they awarded me it. So that was like £5,000 that they awarded me, which was amazing.
That's
Amazing.
amazing.
So that's one thing I would say to anybody that's like thinking of studying abroad. If you think you don't have the money for it, definitely check the opportunities your university might have, because there's a lot of funding that a lot of universities have for students, and they will help you with things like that. So that helped me out a lot. But yeah, I couldn't book the flight until my visa was approved.
Yeah.
Right. I was waiting on that. And I remember I went for the visa interview in like, I want to say maybe it was December, because I don't remember being at university at that time. Like we'd already broken up for Christmas. So I think I went in like December, which was still cutting it short. But then you have to wait for an appointment. It was so much stress. You have to wait for an appointment. There's nothing I could have done. All I could do was
Yeah.
apply, and they give me the date when to come. So they gave me the date. It was in December. I went down there. You don't know if they're gonna say yes or no. And
Mind
then
you, I will like to say Aaliyah, and the Brits are probably gonna hate how I say this. Aaliyah's from Birmingham. Listen, when I was out there a couple years ago, they were making fun of me. Why are you saying? Well, I wasn't saying Birmingham. I was saying Salford. Like, why? Look at her. Why is she's American? Like, I was like, oh my gosh, calm down, please. I was at it was like a casino bar or whatever, and they were making fun of me. So she's from Birmingham. Tell me the train ride. How long is the train ride from Birmingham to London?
Birmingham to London is like, to be fair, it isn't that bad. It's like an
Okay.
hour and a half. Sometimes you can get there in an hour.
That's long. That's long. That's
Is
a long.
it?
It's not. It's not like it's like 25 minutes. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, yeah.
Like in Chicago, the CTA, it like it takes you from place to place, and it's like a
Yeah.
quick little thing. That's a journey.
It was a journey.
This is not like something that's quick for you. It's a like a day's trip. So
yeah, when you put it that way, yeah, like yeah. I remember going. It was like stupid o'clock in the morning. I had to get there really early for it because my appointment was early. And I just remember going down there, stupid o'clock in the morning to London. The embassy hadn't even opened yet. This is like maybe 6, 7 a.m. that I had to be there for. And then when you get there, it's a lot. Obviously, I'd never done anything like that before. And when you get there, it's a line of other people also waiting to get their visas approved to go wherever they want to go. And I remember waiting in line. And
I was gonna say these are visas to study. These are visas probably to work. This is probably to visit. It's not like just like one thing. It's like
it's all of it going on. So it was all like I was just taking this all in, because I hear about stuff like this, people applying for visas, but I'd never actually done it until then.
Yeah.
And then you get there and you're waiting in line, and then it's your turn. And I probably waited like a good hour maybe. And then it's your turn. There's a guy at the desk or whatever, and then he's just like, okay, so why do you want to come here? Why do you want to come to the US? And I'm just like, because I want to study abroad and I've always wanted to go. And he's like, okay, they just want to make sure you're not crazy, I suppose, basically. They just want to make sure.
So you're a 90-day fiance, Aaliyah.
Right. They want to make sure I'm not going there.
You're trying to.
So I was like, yeah, I'm normal, TM, and I had the interview thing, and then he said, I think he told me then and there, okay, we're gonna grant it to you, but I still had to like wait to get it. So they took my passport, and then they put like the visa in my passport, but it takes days, and then they mail it back to you or whatever. So yeah, that was like a whole thing. And I had to do that. And then I could book the flights and do all the rest of it and buy travel insurance. And that's when I could start looking at housing as well. Oh,
Hmm.
it was a lot. It was a lot. Worth it though. It was worth all the stress. But at the time I was like, no.
You're gonna listen to my story and you're gonna be like, "What?"
I know, I feel
I
like I can't wait to hear because I feel like you had a breeze. Like
it
you
was in comparison to yours. It was the whole application process was breeze. Like,
that's
yeah.
crazy. I'm quite
Hmm.
jealous. Mine was stress. Mine was actual stress.
So you get approved, you get the
Hmm.
flight, you land in Chicago in the dead of winter, mind you, in the brutal. I don't know why I just said it like that. Brutal.
I know I think you're sounding a bit British then.
I
Brutal.
did.
Um,
It's because
no,
I'm listening to you. I'm gonna start.
you just start like, I'm glad that
Mimicking.
happens to you as well because I feel like if I speak to people that are American, I start to sound like them. So I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. But I mean, obviously, I'm kind of used to the winter because England's always cold.
Yeah.
But
Not Chicago cold. Not Chicago cold.
well, but
I
you know what? Chicago was not that cold when I got there. People even told me that. People were like, "Oh, it's probably the warmest it's been."
yeah.
I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. Like apparently that wasn't like a cold winter. Like it wasn't that
Yeah.
cold. But I don't know. I remember it snowing and I remember the snow being really, really thick and high
Yeah.
and it's not
Mhm.
usually that bad here. But it wasn't cold. I wasn't cold. I wasn't cold. And I'm always cold. So
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. Like, I don't even remember. I know that I think the year before it was a lot colder or whatever. Wait, no, maybe not. But because 32 degrees for us, it's like zero for you. So it gets like colder than that. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah, it
That's
does.
what I'm
It does.
saying. Like sometimes we probably had days that were like 10 degrees, so like negative 12 for you guys. Like I'm on my phone, like look,
Yeah, do you
doing
know what?
this.
I think I just got lucky that year because I
Yeah.
remember, obviously, like we talked after I'd left, and I remember
Mm-hmm.
speaking to a few of my roommates, and like another winter had gone by, and it was super cold, and I was like, "Damn, are you guys okay over there?" Because it was
Yeah.
literally freezing, and I was like, "It wasn't that cold when I was there." So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know it can get cold over there. It's crazy,
You
crazy.
got lucky. Well, you got lucky
I
apparently,
got
but
lucky. I got lucky. I got lucky for sure. Thank God, because I'm not built for cold weather. I can barely manage it here, let alone US cold weather. No, no
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. I ended up studying kind of like the fall into the winter before the
Yes.
winter kind of started. So I left like in January. So I don't know if it gets colder like around that time, but it wasn't like too bad. I'm also like not a cold weather person, so
Yeah.
yeah. So once you were here, um, how did you feel? Like once you were, I guess, like kind of settled and well, first let's talk about yeah, you settled in your with your with your flatmates,
With my flatmates, my roommates. I
your
have to call
roommates.
it roommates because you share a room over there,
Did
which
you?
isn't a thing here.
Yeah. Did you share a room with people?
I shared a room with one other girl. So
Okay. You
I
did
was
have
in an
roommates. Okay.
apartment. Yeah, I was
Mm-hmm.
in an apartment with we had two-bedroom apartment. I shared with one girl, and then there were my other two roommates, flatmates, and they shared a room. So,
Gotcha.
but in the UK, that's typically not a thing for university. Um,
Mm-hmm.
everybody will have their own rooms. You'll share like the apartment, but not a room. So I was a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
nervous. I was a little nervous about that, but it was fine. It was actually fine. So.
Or so we thought. We'll get to that at the end. So you get settled in your dorm room. Talk to me a little bit about your experience with the classes. Like how did you feel about the classes you took?
I genuinely loved my classes. There was probably only one that looking back, I think, oh, maybe I could have changed it for some. I don't think I got much out of this one class that I picked. But the other classes I absolutely loved. Obviously the class where I met you. I genuinely did like that class. That was a cool class, and that was kind of like a 2-in-1, wasn't it? Because it was like a writing class, but also a
Yes.
production class. So that went together.
I was going to say you were a part of a learning community. That's why it was the 2-in-1. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Which I didn't plan on it. I think it was. I think one of the teachers convinced me to do it. I didn't plan on like taking that class kind of thing. I was looking at it, but um, kind of. I
What
think I
teacher
remember
was it?
going. It was Eric. It was Eric.
Eric.
Yeah. I
Okay.
wasn't sure if I should say the name or not, but it was Eric, and I remember going up there to talk to them just a little bit about the classes. So I wasn't sure,
Mm-hmm.
and then Eric really persuaded me. He was like, if you do it through the, because there was an option to do it but not learning community, I think,
Yes,
basically.
there was, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but he was like, if you do the two, you can also like produce what you've written and the two go together. And I was like, that makes sense. It just made
Mm-hmm.
sense for me to do it. And I liked his energy and everything. So I was like, you know what, why not? So he kind of persuaded me to take the class. And yeah, so that was that. And then I had like a radio class, which I loved. I loved that class. It was my favorite. It was actually my favorite class. Um,
Okay.
and then there was another class that I took. I don't remember the name of it, but I don't know. I think it was just very. I didn't get much out of it. It was.
What was it about?
I think it was just very foundational, very basic, like some sort of very basic filmmaking class or production class. But
Okay.
to me, it was like if you are completely new to
Mm.
media production, you
Got
don't
it,
know
got it.
anything about it.
So what were you doing in that class? Because maybe I took that class.
I don't know if well, maybe you did, but I don't know. It was a lot of seminars basically. Like I remember going into the room where it was, and it had where all the seats and stuff, and the
Auditorium, yeah.
the auditorium, and the
Mm-hmm.
teacher would just like show us things on the projector and stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
eventually at the end of the class, we made something. Like we had to go
Okay.
off and make our own little video or whatever it was, but it just wasn't. I don't know. There was a lot. It was a big class. There was a lot of people in it.
Okay.
Um, but I just don't really feel like I got anything from it. I could have. I kind of wish I'd
I think
chosen something else.
I think I took that class too, but I took that in like my first semester because it sounds like
Yeah.
we were in the auditorium, and then from that class we ended up filming like a VSP. I don't know if that sounds familiar to you, but it was like a video project.
It sounds very similar actually.
And I will say that yes, that class is very introductory.
It's very introductory, and I just
Yeah.
felt like I didn't really need to do that. I could have done something a little more. So that's the only slight regret I
Mm-hmm.
had. It was a good class. Like the teacher was really funny and the people in it were funny, but I just don't think I got much from it. I didn't learn anything really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but other than that, I was happy with the rest of my classes that I'd chosen. I really liked that because if you remember, like I like that I could pick my schedule over there. That was a luxury to me because you can't
Mm-hmm.
do
Mm-hmm.
that here. Like you can pick your classes, but the schedule is decided for you, and you have to be in this day, that whatever day the class is on.
Yeah.
Whereas here in Chicago, you can you can decide like, oh, maybe I don't want a class on Friday. This class is on Friday, so I'm not doing that class. Or let me, you can pick your own schedule, which I really took advantage of that. So I
Yeah.
loved my schedule.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was nice. I was for the most part really happy with my classes.
I
So
keep laughing because I'm like opposite experience for me in Manchester. Um,
what? Oh
so
no.
yeah, but I'm saying I had it easier.
Oh, wait, in what sense? Like class picking or
Yeah, like yeah I in that and then the schedule. Yeah, kind of sort of yeah.
oh yeah, well, it is easier because you don't have to like. you just pick the classes that you wanted, right? And then the
Yeah.
schedule's decided for you, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. I think it's because here there's maybe like multiple teachers that maybe teach that class, so then you have more of an option.
Of an
And they
option.
and yeah.
I did like that though. It's a little bit more not complicated, but I liked being able to pick my schedule because I literally said to myself like the way my schedule was, I had classes Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And
Hmm.
then on Friday, I had my radio class, and it was like 8 in the morning till 12. So I had the rest of the day, and I made it that way. As I had like the rest of Friday off, Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, and I
Hmm.
have Monday, Tuesday off. That was like I was living my life. I loved
She
it.
said, she said, I'm partying on the weekends and I don't have to.
I loved it. Like I couldn't do that. My schedule back like here in the UK, my classes
Yeah.
were all over the place. Like it was hard to like because of the classes I picked, I ended up being in like every day of the week, even if I had like one
Oh,
class for the whole day. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
My schedule was crazy here. So I liked it
Yeah.
better in Chicago because I had more control over my schedule in that sense.
Hmm.
So yeah, it worked out better for me in that way. In that way, yeah. So and it gave me more time to actually when it came to filming and doing projects, I had more time to actually get stuff done. Whereas here, if I'm in class pretty much 5 days a week, that's and I have like work to do for each class, that's gonna be really hard to especially
Yeah.
for filming, like that's gonna be ridiculous. So it was tough. It was definitely tough. I had a bit of an easier ride in Chicago in that sense for things like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
So, so talk to me about, well, I guess like your experience with the two classes that we were in together. How
Mm-hmm.
did you feel? I'm laughing. I'm trying. I'm trying to be respectful.
Um, I remember my first day walking in that class, and I don't know. I didn't really know what to expect from it. Um, but I was just really open minded. I remember it was the TV writing class, yeah, because we had the writing class first, and then we had
Yeah,
production later in the day.
yeah,
And
yeah. Like a couple
I
hours
remember I
later or
walked
something,
in
right?
there, huh?
I said like a couple hours later, right? Like
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I forgot
yeah.
about that, but okay, yeah, go
Yeah, we
ahead.
did. I'm surprised at how well I remember it, but yeah, I walked in there and I was quite nervous. I was shy. My first day of classes was I was quite scared. I was just nervous, and I remember I walked in there, and obviously Sarah kind of introduced me, like she, she was the sweetest person though. So, but
I adore her.
it just made me really nervous as well because she was all like, "Oh, we have a student today from the UK," and I was just like, "Oh," I was nervous because I just like,
Yeah.
you know when you feel all eyes turn to you kind of thing, and
Hmm.
then you're just like, "Oh, they're gonna want to hear me speak," and like I don't know.
And I bet you like my eyes, my Harry Potter loving was like England. So excited. Like she's like, keep it in, Monica. Keep it in.
Oh, just hilarious,
I know,
especially
but
when
go ahead.
you know, because we had to read a script, didn't we? We
Hmm.
were reading scripts that day, I remember.
Yeah.
And when she chose me to read, I was just like, oh, like I was very self-conscious because you know, it's like you go from everyone sounding like you, talking like you don't think anything of it. And then when you're in the US,
Hmm.
everything you say just sounds so different to everybody else because you are no like you are the only British person all of a sudden. So, you know, I think you guys got over it though. It wasn't a big deal. But in my radio class, I guess because there's more of a
You're
focus
speaking.
on speak exactly. It was like, you know, they couldn't get over my pronunciation of certain words. And I was just like, guys, get over it, you know, tomato, tomato, that whole thing. It was hilarious to them. I was like, oh my God, guys, stop it. You're making me self-conscious. But no, I think you guys got over it. but it was nerve-wracking the first class, but I settled in well with it, and I really enjoyed it, especially the writing class. I think I got a lot from it, and um just the whole process of it, like the whole writers room thing, because that's not something, maybe because
Yeah.
I'd done script writing in the UK, but it wasn't, it was more like more geared to film, not really TV. So I didn't really have like a writers room class. So I learned a lot from that experience in Chicago, and that particular class of learning how to write for TV, and how much more collaborative it is when you're writing episodes each. And I learned a lot more about that process than I did here. So I'm glad I took that class, definitely.
I really loved that. That class was just, it was fun. And it's
It
exactly
was.
what you said. And I want to set the room for like whoever's listening. You would go into this room, and it'd be kind of like tables lined up in a like a half a square, if that
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
how you.
yeah.
But we were essentially lined up where you would all kind of look at each other, and then obviously the teacher was sat somewhere like in the same thing, in the same environment. And I know I mentioned this in like my previous episode, but Sierra would always buy us like coffee and
And
donuts.
donuts. Yes.
And
I
I
was
mean,
getting ready to say that because she'd always like have donuts ready for us from Dunkin' or whatever, or sometimes some of you
it was
guys
not
would.
Dunkin'. It was not Dunkin'. We're
Was it?
talking about like, no, it was is it called, what are the Chicago donuts called? Like I think they're Stanley's donuts. I think
Okay.
that's what it's called.
I remember. What?
So
I
it's
specifically
it's more
remember Dunkin'.
expensive
Okay. Oh yeah, no, she did. But
because go ahead.
I think some people used to bring donuts as well. Somebody
I
bought something from Dunkin', because I remember the Dunkin' box. I remember it.
Yeah.
It became like a thing. Like Sarah kind of set that tone for us to do that. And then some
Mm-hmm.
people would, like, if they were passing Dunkin' on their way, they'd bring some donuts or like
Or
coffee.
coffee or something. Yeah.
It was really, it was a cute environment. I liked that.
Yeah.
I really
So
liked that.
the donut place is called, I messed up. I was gonna say the F word. It's called Stan's Donuts, and the only reason why I
Okay.
remember, because the donuts were like specialized. They were like fancy. Like there was one with like pistachio and stuff like that. You know what? No, I mean, listen, we know Dunkin'. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts is like a glazed donut. These were like I mean, she was treating us, and I was
She
like,
was. She was.
she was so sweet. She was such a
She
great
was
teacher,
really sweet. Yeah, she was really,
and
really
patient.
sweet.
Impatient, because I feel like our class could get a little rowdy, a little like wild sometimes. So
Sometimes, yeah. She
the
was very patient with us and just very calm. And yeah, really, I liked her class. I liked her energy. She was sweet, definitely. And I loved like the feedback she would give us all, really
Mhm.
helped me. I remember talking to her outside of class and emailing her and getting pointers on my writing or what she thought. And she gave me some really good advice and stuff. So yeah, no, I loved it. I really loved it.
So in that class, we talked about how we were writing, and then the other class, like the class, a couple hours later, we were editing, right? So essentially, the purpose of that learning community, or that, was that you wrote a project and then you filmed the project and edited, obviously.
Right.
Um, Tell me about your experience about I guess like the filming process for your projects, or the projects that you worked on.
Um, it was a lot. I know we did. I remember working on two different projects. One was
Yeah.
like the web series thing, I believe.
Yeah, that's the like the final project.
That was
The
the
first
final one,
one,
wasn't it?
yeah. The
The,
first project was on a script, and if I'm not mistaken, it was based on like a god thing.
yeah,
Like it was
yeah.
kind of like based on like a, I don't know. I don't remember what it like specifically for the one that I worked on. I don't remember, but I remember it was about like God, and it was based. People had to write a script based on another
Um,
script.
yes, we were doing like
That
adaptations or something, weren't we?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember. I think I kind of ended up enjoying that project a little bit more than the web series one, even though the web series one was the one I was excited for that more. But in the end, I think like, the first adaptation project was a little bit more fun. The web series one got a little bit stressful for me.
Talk to
But
me about it. Tell me about it, please. I want to know what was stressful about it.
what right now? Should we
What
get
went
into
wrong?
it?
Let's get into it because listen, sometimes in life shit gets messy. And we'll say this because working with people can be messy.
Yes,
So
it was a
so,
lot.
so talk to me about, I guess, just talk to me about the struggles, whatever you're comfortable obviously like saying. I know that you told me I will say this. I was in a different group than you were.
Yes, unfortunately.
I really wanted you to be in my group. I really did. I don't know. I sensed like a little connection. It was me obsessed with Brett. No, I wanted you to be my group, but obviously I don't remember how many students were in this class, so we had to like kind of like split in half or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Because
you ended. Go ahead.
there was like two or three groups, wasn't there? There was
Two,
Oh,
just
there
two.
was just two. See,
I
that
think
says it
I
all.
I think it was just two because I only remember two web series from that.
Maybe you're
So
right. Maybe you're right. I wasn't sure, but sounds
yeah,
about right. But
I I just remember you were on a different one, and then Caesar and I were on in the other
in the
group.
same
And
one, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It was there were disagreements, which does happen with group projects. That's
yeah,
not to say that didn't happen in group projects that I did here. But
yeah,
it was just, I just think we were mismatched as far as, because like I was a little bit older than the other people in my group. We were all girls. They were
yeah.
like, I guess, fresh out of high school. I was a little bit older, so they had a slight different mentality to me anyway. They just did. Um,
Right.
and I think because you guys, your group, there was a little bit more of you. I think we were a smaller group, if I'm correct. I'm sure.
I think I think we had like one extra person. I think
Was it just
like
one?
I think there was like we split groups, but I think there was like I'm just gonna say to give an example, like 11. I don't remember if that's what it was, but there's like 11. So then obviously like one person had to have like an extra person,
An
and I
extra
think that
person.
yeah,
Okay. It just felt
mm-hmm.
like, because wasn't okay. Maybe there was three. Was there three groups? Because there were two. There were two guys in the group, in the class.
In my
So,
group,
oh, was there two guys in your group or just
yeah.
one?
No, I had I'm trying to even remember. But I definitely had the main person that we did his script was Justin. So that was the person that we had like the web series was based on his like idea. So we
Okay.
had two with him and Caesar. We had two guys, and then I know I had I think maybe one other or two other girls. I don't remember now. I would have to look at like the pictures and stuff like that. But
Okay. I
I just
remember.
I remember at the end of it there was two series that was shown because I'm not gonna lie. I remember me and Caesar kind of like I swear I was like, and I remember saying like I'm gonna put it in my own words now, but I basically said like this is a fucking shit show. That series is a fucking shit show.
No, no, because I do remember your faces. The thing is, I already knew because like I knew with the way how my group worked out how it was gonna go. I myself wasn't happy with the full production. I think there was
Mm-hmm.
one episode that turned out okay, and it was mine. That's just facts. That's just facts. That's just facts. It was mine. Like even
Okay.
they said it was mine. So
Yeah.
but overall I wasn't happy with how things worked out. And I think to be honest, it was just to do with the idea itself that we
Do
filmed. I'm surprised Sarah picked it for us to do because it was
yeah.
already kind of not
No,
impossible, but
but it was
it
like
was
it
like,
was like but it was a class vote though. The thing is it's like we voted and then we voted on it. The thing is it's like we the students literally voted which ones cuz I know that like that's how Justin's project kind of I think if I'm not mistaken got picked and
Are you
The reason why I say
sure?
that the reason why I say that is because his two scripts, Justin's two scripts were filmed, and it wasn't supposed to be like that. Like Sierra wanted like different people to get like their projects made, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know. I just okay. So are you saying that to the first tick, right? The first tick or whatever, or the strike, whatever you want to call it, will say that the concept wasn't strong, or the concept was a little bit out of our ability to do.
Yeah, that was like the main thing. It was a great idea, but I just think
What was the idea? I don't remember because I don't remember.
it was a pizza place. We were filming in a
Oh
pizza place.
yeah. Okay.
So the idea itself was great. I don't think like the story was like super strong or anything, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't say that even in like a shady way, because it can be quite hard to think of like a story and then it's got to be, how many episodes do we have to do? 5 or 6 or something like that?
It was like an episode per person, like yeah, per like the
Per
person in the group had to
person.
meet each. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, depending on how many people were in your group, we had to
Mm-hmm.
do 4 or 5 episodes, I think it was. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you know, it was hard to think of something. But like I said, I thought the idea was great, but I didn't think, because we all had to write something up or come up with an idea. So I was genuinely surprised when it got chosen, and I think maybe the reason it got chosen, because I do remember some kind of vote, but then I also remember, I'm sure it was down to like Sarah in the end, or Eric, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was just surprised that it got chosen, because I knew it was going to be difficult, like location wise and stuff. But maybe that's why they wanted us to do it, to kind of have those challenges, I'm assuming. Um so that was already a little bit like, I had my doubts about it, but you know, I was like, okay, if this is what we're being asked to do, this is the idea we're going with, then you know, that's out of my hands. This is what we got to do. So there was that,
Right.
and then it was just like, because I think we hadn't settled on a story for it, to be honest. We kept changing, and then of course it is difficult in a writer's room, because like you all do have to be on the same page of where you want it to go, and we did
Right.
struggle with that, because we were just like, what are we trying to do here? Like, okay, it's in a pizza
Right.
place, is this a comedy, is this a drama, like what's the goal here, kind of thing. So I think we struggled with that. And then, of course, because we don't have a lot of time, we just kind of had to
Yeah.
like settle on something. And obviously, the girl whose idea it was, we were just kind of like, okay, where do you want to take this? This is your idea. Let's kind of go with it. So, you know, I think the
Would you
beginnings,
say it's also like there's a lack of kind of like leadership, or I don't know if it's leadership's the right word, but a lack of like a strong concept idea then for that.
yeah, from the beginning. And I think because obviously it was like, it was her idea, and then like the other girl, they were both like friends or whatever, and they were close. So
Yeah.
I already
Yeah.
knew it was gonna be like a thing, because it's like, you feel like you're basically third wheeling two best friends, and that's
I was gonna
basically
say.
what it felt like. Like, it's a group project, but you feel like you're third wheeling two besties, and you're just like, man,
Mm-hmm.
this ain't gonna this ain't gonna go nowhere, because as far as I'm concerned, it's what them two say. So I was like, oh man, this is not cool. I was like, I don't like
And
this. I don't like
and then
this.
there was like a power dynamic between the two, right? Like a power struggle, or
I
somebody
think
trying.
so. I think so. I feel like even one of them kind of was, if I remember, was kind of had their doubts about, you know, how we were gonna make this happen as well. But she was adamant. It was her idea, and she was adamant that she wanted to do this. So I was like, you know what? Fair enough. Fight for your idea, you know. So it wasn't even so much that we managed to like find a location to film and do what
Mm-hmm.
we could with it. But it was more, I think we just disagreed on like the dynamic of the group, basically. Like, you know, in the actual industry, if you have like a producer kind of thing, what they say goes to a certain degree. But
Right. Right.
it is also just like, it is a collaborative process. So they do have rules. They can kind of say, well, this is my idea and this is what we're going to do ultimately. But to me, there's still just a way of like speaking to people, or just because it's your idea doesn't mean the people that you work with, you talk to them a certain way, kind of thing. And I was
Yeah.
very big on that. I was just like, I haven't come here for that experience, so let's just like, if we're gonna agree or disagree, we can, but let's just do it respectfully, if possible. So I think there just was a little rift in that sense, and because I wasn't like, oh, these two are gonna just, I wasn't gonna let like the fact that they're two best friends, like, oh, whatever we say goes. I just wasn't down with that. I was like, guys, I get it. You guys are like fresh out of high school. This is your like moment, whatever. But I was just like, this needs to be collaborative. It can't just be what you two say goes. I don't know how the dynamic was with your group, and if you felt like it was a bit more like fair and everybody got a say, but I just felt like that was missing a lot in my group, and it made me seem like I was difficult because I was fighting for it, and
I
I was the
remember
only
that.
one saying something, so automatically it looks like you're the issue, but actually it was just like, no, like, I'm happy to do this project, I'm happy to go along with it, don't get me wrong, and I understand that we each have an episode, and we can input stuff into our own episode. But even that, I
Right.
felt like they were trying to take over my episode, and I was just like, see, now you're not even letting me do my thing. So
Right. Right.
there was issues, there were power struggles, there was disagreements, um
I remember
and
that.
yeah, it was.
I remember because I think we talked, and I remember like kind of like talking to you about it, and you telling me like I'm very like unhappy. I remember you telling me that you went and you talked to Eric about
I
it,
did.
about the
I had to.
situation, and yeah, I just yeah, I remember. So I want to ask why did you I involved the teacher? Why did you get him involved?
For me, at that point, I decided to go to the teacher because I was like, it wasn't even like to, what's the word? I don't know, grass them up or anything. I was just concerned about my grade.
Yeah.
Because obviously I've done all this and I'm studying abroad, and my grades do matter at the end of it. So I kind of went to the teacher with a little description of what had happened, but I was just concerned about, okay, let me be clear. What do I need to do so that I pass? Because we're clearly not going to be able to fully agree on everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
because to be honest, I was just kind of thinking like, not exit the group, but kind of. I was just like, I don't want to do this. So I went to the teacher to say, look, if I basically do my episode and then kind of dip, like, is that gonna like what happens? And then he was basically
Mm.
like, well, you can do that. It depends if you want to do it. It had reached that point for me. I
Yeah.
think we were
I
like,
remember.
we'd filmed most of the episodes, so it was kind of just mine to do. And I was just a bit like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable with this. So what do I need to do? Like, if I leave, is it gonna like affect my grade? I just wanted to cover myself basically. And he was basically just like, well, technically, like, after you've done your episode, that's it. It's kind of up to you what you want to do. So that was enough for me. That's all I needed to hear. And I was like, okay,
She's
I
like,
guess that's what I'm gonna do then. I was like, yep, peace out, kind of thing. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Um, and I think that's kind of what ended up happening, to be honest, if I remember correctly. Like, I did
yeah.
what I needed to do. We were, to be honest, we were kind of towards the end of filming anyway, because I think even my episode was I think it might have been second to last or something anyway.
Okay.
So most of it had already been done, but I just wanted to make sure that my grade wasn't going to get affected, because it would have been a shame to let it, get like that. But that's what happens. It happens all the time. It happens in actual, in the industry as well, when people have creative differences or whatever they call it.
It's
Sometimes
part of
it does
life.
get
Yeah.
that bad. You walk away from a project and you think, nah, I can't do this. It depends how
Right.
bad the difference is or what you're having to put up with. And for me at the time, it was bad, and it's unfortunate. It kind of just put like a sour ending on that class, which is a shame
Yeah.
because
Because
I
that was our final
enjoyed it.
project. Yeah, that was our
Yeah.
final project, and
Yeah.
to kind of end on like a bad note. Because
Yeah, that
if I'm recalling this correctly, I felt like they were trying to gang up on you and trying to blame you on it, you know?
yeah.
Um, and I mean, I'll say for my experience, because I worked with one of those persons in the previous year, and it's funny because after Caesar and I were done filming our episode, I told them this. I was like, yeah, I went into that semester and be like, I'm never working with this person. I don't want to work with this person again. And I was like, no, whatever. I was like, so that's why I got lucky, and I ended up working, I think, with Caesar. I think both the times. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
that says it all. That says a lot because if you had like a
I
similar negative
I even
experience,
went to. I also went to Eric, and I was like, "Yo, uh, I'm gonna say how it is. Okay, this is what happened. Here's the tea lowdown, people. I'm from the suburbs. I don't go. I am commuting into Chicago or whatever. Right. My train to go was always like in over an hour, sometimes a little bit longer depending on the time I went up there. So I had to go filmed. I was part of up with I think the person whose idea this was for your project. But anyway, totally different project. And I told her, and I said like, hey, being a college student, I was like, okay, we're gonna go up into this neighborhood, and I'm like, let's take the train. That's what most people would do, right? She was like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. And mind you, we had like filming equipment. We had like the camera, like a camera or whatever. I'm like, what do you mean? People like other students do this. Like this is normal. Da 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 da. She didn't want to do it. I want an Uber. I want an Uber. And then on top of it, girl wants to Uber and doesn't want to fucking pay for it. And then I ended up paying for it. I think both ways. And I was like, so yeah. After that whole situation, like I said, I ended up involving Eric because I was like, what is going on with this chick? I'm like, why is she being unreasonable? Like she's not trying to meet me halfway kind of type of thing. Like she's not.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, that's how I
So
felt. There was no like meet me halfway because I've had disagreements with people in group projects before. Here, it happens,
yeah,
but nothing quite like nothing quite like what I experienced there. There
yeah,
was no meet halfway. It was kind of do it
it,
my way or that's it. And I was like, oh no, honey, I don't do that.
yeah. And
Like,
then like I said, it
I
was like
don't
it's
move
almost
like
like a
that.
two against one, because I don't remember if the third
Yes.
person that was in your group, like I think she also had issues, right? Like there was also
Don't
like an
know.
issue
I
with
don't
her
know. I just
project.
think for me it was like so there was four of us and then there was those two and then no five of us. There was those two and there were two other girls and then there was me.
Okay,
And the other two
okay,
girls, I think one of them was kind of more sided with them, I guess. And the other girl was
okay.
like super quiet and
I
just wanted
remember.
to get on with it. Fair enough. But for me, I was just like, this is not, what is this? Mean Girls? Like, come on. Like, we are here to film. It doesn't have to be this serious. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just meet in the middle somewhere. But there was kind of none of that. It was just kind of, it's my way or the highway kind of thing. And
Right.
I don't take well to that. I really don't. Um, so, and it's just the way they were about it. So it was hard. And I tried really hard. Um, it'd been obviously we'd had to film together for a while, so it would been going on for a few weeks or whatnot. And I was just like, yeah, no, I can't do this. And we did end up having a meeting, all of us together, and trying to discuss it. And that meeting ended. That was after that meeting. That's when I decided. I was like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can't do this. It got very personal.
Do you remember what your like episode was about? Like, do you remember your episode specifically?
Um, I don't remember exactly what happened. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I just remember that the feedback. I just remember the feedback that we got from it, like from you guys and from the
Mm-hmm.
teacher. Pretty much all
Mm-hmm.
of I just remember all of you guys said that my episode just seemed the most it had the most structure compared to the other
Yeah.
episode. Don't know why. Well, I know why. No, but no. No, but like,
I'm telling you, I remember just like my face just being like, what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah. But then what
because,
was interesting is that
God.
it's almost like they knew that they messed up. So what they tried to do is
Yes.
do like a mockumentary instead.
Yes.
And
Yes.
instead, like, do the episode, but then after the episode, kind of film a little part to say, well, this, it was weird. Again, that happened after I'd already kind of
Yeah.
left the group. I didn't know they were going to do that. They decided to do that. It's almost like they knew they messed up and they were like, okay, let's do
Yeah.
this. It wasn't really what was asked of us, but that's what they did. And
Because I remember it was supposed to be like a comedy, right? And
yes,
then it turned into a mockumentary because it was. I keep saying a shit show. It was such a shit show that they like decided to make it into a mockumentary. Because I remember something with like the boom, like that ended up becoming like a joke. I don't know if when you guys were filming, like the boom kept like you get whoever your boom person was like kept. I think were you
I
the
don't
boom
even remember
person?
that. You see, that's how bad it was. I don't even remember that. I I remember like the technical aspects of it. I don't remember, but now that you're saying that, I'm like, oh my god, like, I know we're in college and we're learning and stuff, but I just think,
Yeah.
damn man, like that project was kind of crazy. So yeah, I'm hoping they themselves learn a lot from it because I think they figured in the end, like, yeah, they didn't. It was kind of a mess. They knew that.
The thing is, it's like when it comes to those projects, and the reason why, I will say this for the listeners, that the reason why these students were taking it so serious is because they got the opportunity to film their work, and by filming this work, they were able to add that to their portfolio. I can't say the word portfolio. I'm sorry, and so that if they eventually they could create like a reel of their work, and then if they ever wanted to kind of like apply for jobs or whatever as like an assistant or like with a series or whatever, they were able to show like evidence of like
Yeah,
their work, and that's why you wanted to get your stuff produced. Oh
makes sense. Makes sense.
man.
But
It makes sense.
yeah,
I mean, it makes. I mean, that's the reason. Like I said, Justin got his two like projects like filmed. Um, I don't know. I feel bad. I feel bad for you because of like that experience. I had a good experience. Me and Caesar
um,
were literally talking about how we had so much fun on our sets. I can't wait for you
aw,
to listen. I can't wait for you to listen to that episode. It's so funny. But yeah, we had a great time. Like we really had a great time. I guess what was good was that I don't know. I was saying that to Caesar is like I don't feel like a strong script writer, but I know that the people who were in our group, they were strong script writers. Like Caesar was always a strong script writer. Justin also. I don't remember who else was in our group, but I know that they were able to kind of like help us out. Like if there was anything up with our scripts, they were able to kind of like you know. But even like I felt like by the end, because I was towards the end of that class, my script was like like pretty decent. I don't think that they really pretty much adjusted anything from my script. I think there was one like another girl that was in our group that I think she got a little bit of like assistance with her concept or whatever. But
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I'm sorry that you had a stressful time on top of I remember something was that you had like a medical slash dental
Yeah.
emergency.
Ugh,
So
so
tell me about this because you're already like studying abroad is like kind of stressful, and you don't go
hmm
in thinking about these things that shit I'm gonna get sick or something's gonna happen. So what
exactly.
happened?
Yeah, that was. I kind of forgot that kind of hindered my filming experience as well because
Mm-hmm.
what actually happened was I guess it was all the food I was eating there.
The sweets.
I guess I guess it
She
was all
said.
the food and all the sweet stuff I was eating. And I have a sweet tooth anyway here, but it is
Yeah.
different in the US. It is. And basically,
Mm-hmm.
I just remember I had like a terrible, terrible toothache. and it wouldn't go away. I took painkillers. I went to CVS and everything, and I was like, this is not going away. So I went to the dentist, and they were like, okay, you have like a tooth right down here. I knew about this tooth. They told me about it when I was a kid, and they said that you're gonna need this tooth out one day. And of course, that day came like 10 years later in the US, of all places, where you got to pay for healthcare. So that was fantastic. So yeah, they told me like, okay, your tooth is really badly infected. It got swollen. It was so bad, like my face was swollen. I was in so much pain, and they were like, you need to get this tooth out. You literally cannot leave it, because number one, pain, and number two, it's going to spread, and where it could spread up to your brain and all this and that. And I was like,
God.
what? And so then I had to like get referred to like a specialist dentist who could do it. And then they told me how much the procedure was going to cost. And it was like, I want to say like $5,000 just to take the tooth out.
Yeah.
And that was money that I kind of didn't have. It really put a damper on the rest of my experience, because now I got to pay $5,000 out of pocket for this dental procedure that just happened out the blue. Because I had travel insurance, but I don't think it covered dental. That was the issue.
Wow.
And I think that $5,000 that I paid, I did have like some coupons or whatever from Colombia. Like I had a discount from it, but it was still like $5,000 even with that discount. And it just put a damper on everything, because it was that, and then I had to take like a week or two out of classes to heal. I couldn't eat, I couldn't speak. I just paid $5,000. Then that was the whole group project thing going on. And it was getting towards the end of the semester, all the finals are due and everything, and I was just like, this is not good. So it started to go a little bit downhill for me from there. So yeah, I felt the sting of US healthcare. I felt the sting of it, and I was so upset, because that's $5,000 that I could have used for literally anything. Like I could have stayed there longer with that money, or I could have decided to like go to other places in the US, and it really put me out of pocket. And I thought it definitely like cut my stay there a lot shorter as well. So yeah, that was very unfortunate that happened. So yeah, and it was scary as well, because like obviously like I didn't have my family around me or anything, and I'm having to like FaceTime them.
Like a support system, even like even if you had like friends, friends that could potentially step in to be you, maybe didn't really have that as well.
Not really. I think like my roommates were really sweet about it. Like one of my roommates came with me to my dentist appointment and everything, and she was there with me, and she'd just been to A&E like the night before, because one of my other roommates got really sick, or like she had back problems. So that was sweet of her. I had her at least, and like she took me to like get some soup and stuff, because I couldn't eat anything solid or nothing like that, and I was completely numb on this side. And then I remember we had like a cute little, they bought me like ice cream, and it was really cute. I had that at least. Like luckily I had a nice relationship with my roommates, but otherwise obviously like my family are back over here, and they couldn't really do much from afar. So it was a horrible thing to happen, and to not have like your loved ones close to you, and then you're dealing with all that kind of BS classes and stuff, and you're just like, oh my God, it wasn't good. So towards the end of the semester, there was a lot going on.
I remember all this. Like I remember what a struggle it was for you.
Yeah, it was difficult.
I know another thing that something that you thought about or kind of had a little bit of a struggle was kind of living with people. Like I remember you telling me about kind of like I don't know if it was the last week or it was the last day, but you had a couple, or you had a flatmate who I think you said did not pick up after herself.
Oh yeah, we had so I got on with my roommates. I really did. We all had a really nice dynamic, but there was one. Sometimes there always is one. Some people get really lucky, Some people get really
Yeah.
lucky, but I did have a roommate, and she was definitely like the messiest out of all of us. She knew this too. It was just like
Mm.
hands down, you can't argue this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like a little bit messy, it was like a lot messy, like a lot. Nothing I've ever dealt with before. And
Do you was that person, was it something that it was like from home, like it stemmed from home?
I
Um
think so. I think so. And this was an issue because remember when I came there, they had already been living in that apartment.
oh,
I came at the beginning of the winter semester, so they'd already been there the previous semester, the fall semester. So they'd
okay.
already been living there. So when I came to that apartment, it was kind of already messy. And I was like, okay, I'm trying to figure out like, who am I going to be
Yeah.
living with kind of thing. And I remember cleaning up the apartment to the best of my ability. It was kind of hard because I didn't want to move people's stuff too much or anything. So I remember
Okay.
trying to clean around the mess and trying to figure out, okay, how did it get this messy? Or maybe it was like everybody contributed to this, or, you know. Um, and then obviously when they did come back after Christmas break, and I started to see like who was the culprit, and it was just like my other flatmates, roommates, they'd clearly given up cleaning after this person because they already knew she was like that, and I was just like, okay, this is kind of crazy. Like I can do a little bit of mess, but this is like next level. This is like, come on, you need to clean this up because I can't work around this. Like,
Yeah.
so that was an issue, and it became a big issue when it was move out day, because, and that's something I didn't prepare for. I didn't think move out day was going to be as stressful as it
Yeah.
was, because obviously here you just take care of your room and you take your stuff out the kitchen and you leave them
Hmm.
the keys. That's it. And then if there is any damages or anything, you'll get an email. Maybe that never happened to me, but they'll email you and say, okay, there was this.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
at Columbia, it was like the whole building's moving out on the same day, the whole damn building. And this was like, how, I don't even know how many floors that apartment had, but I was on the 12th floor, and it was just chaos. You couldn't even like use the lifts, the elevators all day. I had a flight to catch that day. I just didn't
Mm.
think in my mind that it was going to be difficult. I almost missed my flight back home. It was crazy. And because our
Yeah.
apartment was so messy, so this is all the mess that's accumulated from this one person. And you couldn't technically leave until the RA comes to check your apartment. It has to be in good standing, or else none of you can leave, kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
remember and then you have to wait for the RA to come to you. So they're doing the whole apartment, and you're like, man, I need to go. I got a flight to catch. Like, I got a flight to catch back to England. Like, I can't be doing this. So it was very stressful. I You hear those stories about people that almost miss their flights. I that was my first time almost missing a flight, and I don't know what I would have done. Um, because I would have had to like book another flight back to England, and it's not cheap. Um,
Right. Right.
yeah, that was the most stressful day of my life for all of us.
I
It was
remember you telling me
hard
about it.
trying to clean that
Yeah.
apartment, and yeah, I literally remember saying to the RA, like, yeah, um, this is as best as we can get it. I need to go because I have to go back to the UK. Like, so they kind of had to just let me go, and yeah.
I I would have been like, I would have had the whole like roommates, flatmates, whatever you want to call them, be like, y'all, let's gang up on this girl and have her deal with all this because it's the
What was killing me is like, I'm sure she was trying to leave before all of us. And I was like,
yeah.
girl, no.
Where was
I
she from?
was like, girl, no, like, that's not happening. I was like, that's not happening because, like, this is legit your mess, like, for real. Not even trying to,
Yeah.
like, blame it on you. Like,
Yeah.
majority of this is your mess, so you need to help us clean. And we
Mm-hmm.
had tried and started cleaning from, like, the night before and stuff like that. There was just so much of it. Like, it was going to take a long time for us all to get through it. And then they had put their stuff in storage, and it was just like, it was a lot. It was a lot. I'd never seen anything like it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I made it through.
It sounds like movies, like the movies where like people have parties and they're trying to, like, their parents are getting in and they have to like clean up all this mess and stuff like that.
Yeah, it did feel like it did feel like I was in a film, and like the stakes are high. I'm about to miss this flight back home. Like my other roommate was even saying, you know what, if you miss your flight, you can come and stay with me for a little bit. We were thinking, because I
Plan B.
honestly, because we all, and it was like we all had to leave on the same day. I wish I'd have thought that through beforehand. I didn't think move out day was going to be that stressful. I didn't realize that the whole damn building's going to be moving out that day, because I don't think there was an option to like stay longer. Like you had to leave out by that day. So
Right.
everybody's trying to go and trying to get flights back to their state or whatever. And you couldn't use the elevators all day because it's just jammed. Like everybody's moving stuff in and out. It was crazy. It was an actual chaos day. It felt like a film, honestly.
I was gonna say, it feels like they really don't set up for success for you guys. You know, they just, if anything, they created more of a chaotic environment for everybody. I understand that they're trying to be like, okay, classes are done, people need to be out, because I don't know if they're trying to clean or whatever they're trying to. I think that's what it is. It's like they're trying to get everybody out so that they can get maybe people to go in to clean for the next
Yeah,
year, you know, so that it's within a time frame like kind of close to like the school, like that school year or whatever,
I
and
think
then like
so.
then summer break. So maybe that's what they were essentially trying to do,
I
was
think,
get
I
everybody out.
think so. But I just didn't think it was going to be as stressful as I couldn't have imagined that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like that here. It's not like there's like a move out day per se. Like, or
Yeah.
you would have a lot more time basically than what they gave us. Like
Yeah.
the move out date was like not that long after semester ended, basically. Whereas here, they would give you 9 times out of 10, you'd have like till the end of summer
Yeah.
to move
Oh
out. And
yeah.
people
Yeah.
would generally move out before then anyway, because they want to go home for summer, right? But
I think it's like a week. It's like a week after, like semester ends, and
yeah,
I can imagine
that's
it's
not
like a
enough
week. It's
time.
like, yeah, no.
That's not enough time. So that was the issue. But I didn't think about it at the time until it was getting near. I'm thinking, hold on a minute, like that's the day. I didn't have any other options set up to even stay there if I wanted to stay there longer. Like, where was I going to go? Because I had to move out of the apartment.
Right.
So I just had to go back home, and I had the flight booked for that day as well. And I just thought, no, I shouldn't have. What I should have done is maybe like booked a hotel or something
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
a couple of days after. Okay, if we have to leave the apartment, we have to leave the apartment. Take all my stuff out, put it, stay in a hotel near, and then go home. That's what I should have done. I should have also given myself some extra days, but
Yeah.
I didn't think that at the time. Because obviously I booked that flight like back in like the year before. So I didn't think that far ahead of what it was going to be like. And yeah, it was stressful trying to move out. Then you gotta wait for the transfer to come pick you up. Then the drive to the airport. Then I get to the airport and they're telling me like my baggage is like too much because I had two big bags. I'd been away. It's not like a regular vacation or holiday. You go away for 2 weeks or something. I'd been away for months and months and months.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and they're telling me like, you need to empty your suitcase. So I'm literally in there.
I remember.
I couldn't believe I was like that. I'm literally in the airport, like throwing stuff out of my suitcase, so that I can get on my flight. Because I'm like, I can't miss this flight. So I made it in the nick of time. I had to throw things out of my case. I was that person at the airport being crazy. Like you see people doing that sometimes and you think, how does that happen? But I
Yeah.
can tell you how it happens. It happened to me. And
It's real life, guys. It's real life.
it's real life. So yeah, that was crazy. And I made my flight in the nick of time. And with all my stuff, multiple suitcases, whatever, and I just about made it in time. And then before I know it, I was home.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the end of my stay in Chicago was very chaotic. Unfortunately, it didn't end as nicely as I would have wanted it to.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's done now. Nothing I can do about it now. But yeah, if it had been up to me, or if I'd been more organized with it, I definitely would have stayed there a lot longer. Obviously, if that medical emergency hadn't happened, I would have had a lot more money to be able to support
Mm.
myself there longer as well. So that was a big factor in it as well. So I kind of had to just leave very quickly. And then, it was my whole visa thing as well. That was going to run out at some point. So I kind of had to be back home regardless.
There's a time frame. Yeah.
There's a time frame. So, but I had longer on it than like the move out date and everything. But yeah, I kind of
Right.
just had to go. I had to just leave. So yeah. But I had a good time. Like,
I was just
despite
gonna say
all the
that.
stress, and there were a few ups and downs, like generally speaking overall,
Yeah.
it's still to this day one of the best things I've ever done. And it was a dream come true for me, because I literally always wanted to go to the US and live there, like not just go on vacation. I wanted to live
Yeah.
there and get like a feel for it. I made some great memories. I had good experiences, like just outside of my college life as well, meeting people,
Yeah.
friends, going out. And I just wish I could have stayed there longer, to be honest.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about myself, and I did gain a lot from the classes I took as well. So I feel like if I'd stayed there longer, I would have, you know, made more of it, made more of myself. But
Yeah.
I had to come back home. I had to
We.
return to the UK, and I've been there since. Well, no, I've visited the US since then. So the last time I went back to the US was in 2019, and I did come back to Chicago. I don't know if we got to link up because you were super
We
busy and stuff.
didn't.
We didn't get to link up that time, but I did. I came back to Chicago 2019, and I spent just shy of a month there. And I had a good time, and obviously that was different. I wasn't a student anymore, so I literally just came to just chill, spend time in the city, and that was nice. Don't get me wrong. And me and my roommate were still in touch, so I pretty much stayed with her. And it was nice. So don't get me wrong. Looking back as a student, it was tough. Towards the end, at least, but I've been back since, and I had a good time. And the US has a special place in my heart. I do like to visit there a lot. It has been a while. We've had COVID and all sorts going on, so that's that was a reason I couldn't return as soon as I wanted to. But yeah, I am itching to go back. Definitely, I miss it a lot. So who knows? Maybe next year, because it's been too long. So I'd like to visit again, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. Well, let me know. Let me know if you end up coming back to Chicago or where,
Chicago.
so that hopefully we can like meet up or
We
whatever.
can actually
Cause
meet. It would be really nice. I'm glad we got to meet in Manchester, but it would be nice to meet in Chicago again as well. So yeah, 100%. I definitely let you know if I visit Chicago again, for sure.
who knows? I might end up back in England. My friends are always like itching to go to England, and I know because when I went in 2022, I think I went for a week, and it was mostly focused on like concerts and stuff. So
Yeah,
we would like to go back and explore more, because
yeah,
literally we were
definitely.
kind of on like the go, and like, so my timing with like meeting with people and stuff, with what meeting with people was very like, oh, like this time, like, it was so had to be scheduled or whatever. So I
Yeah,
want to go back and kind of meet up with friends and stuff, and like I said, get to explore,
that
not
would
have
be
it
great.
be not have it be about being on the go or whatever. So I don't know,
Yeah.
that's might be end up on the cards, so we'll
No,
see
that
though.
would be great. If you do, 100%, let me know. We can link up, kind of thing. And if
Definitely.
whether it's London, or because being in Birmingham, I'm kind of central between London and Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you come to Birmingham or whether you do Manchester or London, it's
Yeah.
quite easy for me to get to, you know, either wherever. So no, it'd be great. It'd be great if you came back here. It'd be really nice.
I will. I'll talk. Like I said, I'll talk about it more in
Yeah, episode.
my episode, because I was also kind of like you, where like the financially wise, so I didn't really get to do a lot. And
Yeah.
that was probably like one of my regrets. I was like, I mean, but it was like a financial thing, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it.
yeah. So to kind of like wrap this episode up, I just want to say thank you to Aaliyah. Thank you for sitting down to talk with me, and also thank you for thank you for making an initiative to kind of stay connected throughout these years. You know,
Of
I literally
course.
mentioned in that episode I am friends with, from my college journey, out of all the people that I met, right? I'm friends with
Aw.
Aaliyah and I'm friends with Caesar. Like I got two people out of that, and I'm I'm extremely grateful to like meet you.
Oh, thank you so much. And thanks for asking me to be a part of this. I'm so glad that we stayed in contact this whole time as well. Because I literally remember you saying then in that class that you wanted to start
No,
a podcast. I'm
no,
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you said
stop.
it even then. So the fact that you have and we're still in contact and you've asked me to be a part of it is amazing. I'm like super proud that you've actually gone and done it. So you should be really proud of yourself. Definitely. So no, I'm so glad. I know we don't get to speak all the time because you're super busy. I'm super
Yeah.
busy, time difference, all of
I
that.
was just
But
gonna say that it's not even busy. It's like time difference, and yeah,
time difference.
like
So
it's, if you can't tell, it's like nighttime. It's what time is it right now? It, hold on, it's 2 o'clock my time, so that means it's what, eight, almost 8:30 your time.
it's like almost 8:30 here, like the
Yeah,
sun's setting. Like it's
she has that
nighttime
mood
here.
lighting on. You have that mood lighting.
Yeah, the mood lighting on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
time difference makes it can make a
yeah,
big difference trying to catch up and everything. So
absolutely. So thank you so much for sitting here and talking with me. I
you're
appreciate you.
so welcome. No problem.
Lastly, I just want to say thank you to anyone who tunes in to listen. I would appreciate it if you could leave a review, and would be grateful if you could let me know what information resonated with you. Please follow and share on social media. The pages are at Se Vuelve Podcast, or my personal is at Se Vuelve Monica. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Nos vemos pronto. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.